Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. This Labor Day, fire up the grill and enjoy quality meats and fresh local produce from Safeway. Safeway proudly supports Colorado farms and small businesses. Shop in-store or in the Safeway app.
Tomorrow's the kickoff for CU Buffs football, and that normally means... But not this week. We just found out that Ralphie, the buffalo who usually runs across the field, handled by appointed students, is retiring. The school says that she has a, quote, indifference to running. And while that does disqualify her of the job, I gotta ask, who among us hasn't felt that way from time to time? I'm Arlo Pérez Esquivel. Coming up, lawmakers become the first in the country to fill the budget hole created by the Big Beautiful Bill.
Interestingly, a small amount of the money to pay for this will be taken out of funds designated to help reintroduce wolves.
You'll hear all the policy surprises lawmakers packed into their special session. Then, a Colorado mountain town sued by a Native American artist agrees to make changes.
Something that I thought was pretty fair and equitable and allow other Native and underrepresented community members to also have an advantage from the settlement.
Plus, a new offering at Metro State University could help you find a career post-college.
I took a poll, kind of just a straw poll of my students, and every single hand went up. 1, 2, 3.
Maybe call it a de-grito? It's Thursday, August 28th. Here's the news in Colorado today. If you rely on health insurance through the state's marketplace or get care at Planned Parenthood, state lawmakers provided some relief this week. Those are some of the headlines from the special summer session at the Capitol that just wrapped up. CPR's Benta Berkland is going to tell us what else happened and how lawmakers are putting the pressure on Governor Jared Polis when it comes to state spending cuts. Benta, the session was primarily about how Colorado would fix its finances, since Republicans in Washington reduced $1 billion in taxes that Colorado was counting on. What did lawmakers decide to do?
Democrats hold a majority in the legislature, and they had a three-part solution: budget cuts, using money from the state's reserves, and closing tax loopholes. Of the tax loopholes, those affect businesses and business owners. One of them sounds a little obscure, but it does show how detailed the consideration of the tax code is getting. The change adds Hong Kong, Ireland, Liechtenstein, the Netherlands, and Singapore to the list of countries corporations can't route their revenue through without proving to the state of Colorado that they aren't shielding their earnings from taxes.
That does seem really specific.
Yeah, and it's a small portion of the total savings for next year, but it is interesting. Perhaps the most controversial change was to end something that lets smaller businesses keep some of their sales tax collections. So that will be a hit to small businesses because they won't be allowed to do that. When it comes to budget cuts, though, lawmakers didn't make any decisions. They're leaving it up to Governor Jared Polis.
And why exactly would they do that?
Legislative leaders basically said that they didn't have the time or the deliberative process through the budget committee to make these types of cuts, that the governor's office can act much faster. Politically, it could also be a little easier because Polis is term limited. He has one more session, and he takes a very hands-on approach with budgeting. He'll make his presentation to the budget committee today. I will say lawmakers during the next legislative session could tweak some of his recommendations, but a lot of them will go into effect pretty soon.
So going back to the people who buy their own health insurance through the Connect for Health Colorado marketplace, what's going to happen there?
So this is the marketplace for people who don't qualify for Medicaid, but then also don't get health insurance through an employer. For people on the marketplace who have lower incomes, the state plans to kick in more money so that it continues to be more affordable to buy health insurance. The goal here is to not have more and more people in Colorado who just don't have health insurance. Interestingly, a small amount of the money to pay for this will be taken out of funds designated to help reintroduce wolves. So the wolf reintroduction continues, but Parks and Wildlife will have to find some of that money somewhere else.
And how about Planned Parenthood? You know, the federal government is trying to stop federal Medicaid dollars from going to the provider, even for healthcare that has nothing to do with abortions. What will Colorado do in response to that?
The federal prohibition on Medicaid money for Planned Parenthood is on hold because of a court challenge. But if it does go through, Colorado has passed a law to provide a safety net for people who do get health care through Planned Parenthood. And want to reiterate, we're not talking about abortions, but we're talking about other things like contraceptive care and annual exams. So state Medicaid dollars could still go to people who get services through Planned Parenthood.
And outside of these spending issues, there was also the issue of regulation for artificial intelligence. At the end of the day, what happened to that?
Lawmakers delayed Colorado's plan to regulate AI. Colorado passed this law last year, and it was slated to go into effect in February. Now it's going to be the end of June, with the idea that there will be even more changes next session. But this is the first of its kind in the country, and the goal here is to put guardrails on how AI systems are used for consequential decisions in areas that really impact people's lives, around banking, think loans, higher education, admissions, healthcare. There were a lot of different entities with varying concerns about how it would be implemented and how incorrect data or discriminatory decisions would be rectified. But now Colorado is delaying the law, so it won't take effect till next summer. That gives lawmakers 4 more months next legislative session to try to find a solution.
Coming up with regulation for that is especially challenging because of how fast this technology is developing. CPR Public Affairs reporter Bente Birkeland, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
A Colorado town was in a legal fight with a Native American artist over a social media post. Danielle Seawalker is a Hunkpapa Lakota artist who was supposed to have a summer residency in Vail. But according to Seawalker, that was canceled over a painting that she shared on Instagram last March. CPR's Lauren Antonoff-Hart is here to tell us how the legal battle unfolded and what ramifications it might have for the people who visit and live in Vail. Lauren, can you start by telling us a little bit more about this case?
Yeah, Seawalker was supposed to be an artist in residence in Vail last summer. The residency was part of the city's push for public arts, and she was slated to create a mural for the city. But in March, before her residency started, she posted a painting she did titled G is for Genocide on her Instagram page. It's this really striking image of a woman with one intense eye staring at the viewer. She's wearing a Palestinian headscarf and a feather. Seawalker said the painting was meant to draw parallels between what's happening to Palestinians and the genocide of indigenous people in the U.S. But the painting made a lot of people upset, particularly people who had influence over Vail's artist in residency program. And so pretty abruptly, the town canceled it.
That's when Seawalker filed a lawsuit, right? What did she argue in it?
She was represented by the ACLU and said that Vail violated her First Amendment rights. As you mentioned, Seawalker is Lakota and a citizen of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in North Dakota. So canceling her residency, according to a statement from the ACLU, amounted to viewpoint suppression and worked to censor voices of Native American people. And during this whole ordeal, she also said she received a lot of really hateful messages and emails.
Being unfairly censored and characterized as anti-Semitic. So just a lot of really horrible things that couldn't be further from the truth.
Seawalker said none of the artwork she had planned for the residency involved anything about Israel, so Vail's decision really was in response to an unrelated Instagram post.
Okay, and this lawsuit was resolved last week when Vail and Seawalker announced a settlement. What does it include?
What's unusual is that it's not just about money. The information that was made public described a number of policy changes. Vail is going to fund a new arts program for underrepresented and economically disadvantaged people, including people of Native American ancestry. It'll host an annual powwow organized by Seawalker, and that will be open to the public. It's going to sponsor a community forum on Israel and Palestine, and it will provide cultural sensitivity training to the town's employees, which will be led by an indigenous organization.
Seawalker actually directed a lot of those changes herself. Does it feel like she's happy with the outcome?
I think so. She said she never received a formal apology, but she did see the settlement as an indication that Vail knew they were in the wrong, and she's grateful that the town is taking steps towards reconciliation.
Ultimately, we settled on something that I thought was pretty fair and equitable and really would allow other Native and underrepresented community members and artists, creatives to also be able to have an advantage from the settlement.
Even if she felt like some pieces of the bigger picture were still missing.
I wish they would give the land back to the natives, but, you got to be realistic.
Seawalker said the town of Vail was built on land stolen from the native Ute people, and they don't reap any of the financial benefits.
CPR's Lauren Antonoff-Hart, thank you.
Thanks, Arlo.
Have you ever heard this sound before? That's el grito, an iconic shout that you often hear in mariachi music. In Mexico, being able to execute it well is a point of pride. It's meant to be an explosion of sound that represents the voice of the people. And it is something that comes easier to some, and for others, well, here's my best shot. Kind of sounds like Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Fortunately for anyone like me who wants to connect more with their Mexican roots, Metropolitan State University of Denver has a brand new mariachi degree.
1, 2, 3.
This all started from just a mariachi class and an ensemble. Ruby Flores is an MSU student who was in both. For her, mariachi is more than just music. It's a way of reconnecting with her identity.
My mom really wanted me to be, a United States citizen and kind of conform to their norms. So the mariachi class was where I tried to reconnect it, and then I instantly fell in love.
Because of the popularity of the mariachi program, incoming freshmen can now pursue a new degree on it starting this semester. They'll take lessons on traditional instruments like viola and guitarrón, and even take business and history classes.
Because I can hardly hit that.
Lorenzo Trujillo is an MSU artistic director for the mariachi program. He says that beyond artistry, this creates opportunities for people to make a living.
Bottom line, it's economic empowerment. It gives jobs to people that might not otherwise have really lucrative jobs.
1, 2, 3.
That is the case for Ruby. While she isn't able to get the newly established degree because she's a senior, her experience at MSU allowed her to start performing professionally.
Because if you go up to a mariachi that's playing at a restaurant or at a party, usually they want experience. They want to know that you know what you're doing before you can even get an opportunity to play.
Thanks to Denverites Juanita Hurtado Huérfano for that reporting, and for the team for letting me practice my grito. Oh, and I had some other CPR colleagues give it a shot as well.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it. You just...
Additional reporting for today's show came from CPR's Stephanie Wolf. A special thank you to Alejandro Alonso Galva, Paulo Shalcera, and Chiara Damari for giving me their best grito. And thank you for spending time with us. Send us an email and tell us what you want to hear more about. It's coloradotoday@cpr.org. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. This Labor Day, fire up the grill and enjoy quality meats and fresh local produce from Safeway. Safeway proudly supports Colorado farms and small businesses. Shop in-store or in the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.